Welcome to the Insight Channel, your user's guide to living life with vision loss. I'm Jazz, I'm a blind occupational therapist, and I'll be your guide. Before I decided to specialize in vision rehabilitation, I was actually on track to become a hand therapist. I love working with hands. So today I'm going to teach you how your hands can actually help you to reduce stress and anxiety. I'd be willing to bet that most people don't realize how much we actually do with our hands throughout the day. But for someone who is blind or has low vision, it's especially important to realize just how much we use our hands when we're compensating for our loss of vision. So let's take a few moments to explore just how hard our hands work for us each day. Our hands are more than tools. They provide us with information from our environment, help us to navigate safely, allow us to be productive, allow us to communicate, keep us entertained, protect us from harm, and serve as a conduit for helping us to manage our emotions. With all my years as a blind occupational therapist, I've come to believe that our hands are actually the core that connects our mind, body, and spirit. So when we're feeling overwhelmed and stressed, our hands can actually be a solution that helps us to relax and refocus. How is this possible? Did you know that the human hand actually has 34 muscles to allow us to do what we do? And our fingertips have the highest concentration of nerve endings than any other part of our body. So it stands to reason that when we feel stressed and fatigued, it's not just our larger muscle bodies that are feeling it. Our hands are going to feel it as well. So it's important that we keep our hands happy and healthy. So here are 7 handy tips for making that happen. Number 1. Find textures that are soothing, like stroking a favorite pet or a soft blanket. I myself, when I'm on the go especially, like to play with a koosh ball, or some people like to have something smooth like a worry stone that you can rub between your fingers. These are all things that can help you relax. Number 2. Exercise your hands. Those 34 muscles need exercise just like all the other muscles in the body. You can make it as simple as stretching rubber bands between your fingers, or, of course, my favorite is therapeutic exercises. Of course, as an occupational therapist, we do a lot with therapeutic. If you don't have therapeutic, you can always use silly putty. I actually like to carry some in my purse. Good old-fashioned silly putty. They still sell it. And just playing with it will help you to strengthen the muscles of your hands. Step 3, challenge your hands to do something new and different. For example, I have here a wooden top, which is always a challenge. That was pretty good. And then, of course, you have wooden hand puzzles that you can bend and move to make different shapes. Those are always fun to play with. My personal favorite are the Chinese exercise balls that you can spin in your hand and try to do this without using your fingers. And you can try to spin them in different directions and then one over the other. Great challenge. Step 4, deep pressure. There are studies that show that deep pressure through our joints and muscles can help us to relax. So you can do that by doing activities that require a rolling pin, doing yoga, or squeezing on a rubber ball. Clay is also a great way to use deep pressure, which I'll show you in just a minute. Step 5, allow your hands to release your emotions. If you have nervous energy, you can use things like fidget cubes or a fidget spinner. If you're feeling stress or anger, of course, having stress balls or squeezy balls can help. Even when you're happy, using your hands to get out some of that joy, it's very cathartic. Step 6, use your hands to create something positive. There are many studies that show that art can actually help to release endorphins and help us feel more relaxed and de-stressed. I used to take a pottery class to de-stress, and that's where you will see I have some of my pieces that I did as part of that pottery class. I also enjoy flower arrangements, jewelry making, painting. Anything that is creative that you do with your hands can help you to release anxiety and stress and feel refocused. Step 7. It's important to keep your hands clean and cared for. Especially now with COVID-19, we're all washing our hands a lot more often, and that tends to dry our skin out. So be sure that you are using lotion to keep your hands healthy and feeling good. Paraffin can be a real treat, which is nice and warm and soft to help relax those muscles. Keep your nails clean and manicured, and you are going to have happy, healthy hands. There's one particular activity that does all of these things for me, and that is working with clay. It's the best way to soothe my psyche and encourage my creativity. The deep pressure and smooth feel of the clay, it just helps the nerves to relax and release all that muscle tension that's in your hands. Deep pressure actually impacts the autonomic nervous system, which is the system responsible for controlling our heart rate and our breathing. The tactile information and proprioceptive information that goes through our hands and our arms as we press into the clay also is known to balance out our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, which can give us a calming effect. There are research studies that praise the use of clay as a modality for reducing stress, and that's because it's believed that it causes the brain to release neurotransmitters like endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin, and these are the chemicals that make us feel good. Basically, working with clay calms the body and reminds the brain that you can still maintain control even when you're feeling stressed. I use my hands all day long. They are my lifeline to the world in ways that sound and smell just cannot compare. So when I'm able to take a hunk of clay and turn it into something that is beautiful, it really helps me to reset. It feels like I'm resetting all of my body systems and getting refocused. Now, my happy place is the garden. I love flowers and plants. So when I freeform with clay, I tend to actually create flowers and plants. And so what I'm working on right now is actually a calla lily, because I love the smooth, sleek, long lines of the calla lily. I just find them to be very beautiful, very graceful, very calming. They happen to be my favorite flower. And so when I'm working with the clay, there is just no other feeling in the world. And so I'm going to show you what I have done already. When this piece is done, I'm going to put it into the kiln and fire it. And so after it's fired, it's going to look like this. This is one that I recently fired. And so what I do is I take these pieces and I mount them to canvas. So now we have something that started off as just a hunk of clay and turned it into something beautiful. So I thought I'd show you a couple of my favorite pieces that I finished. Here is a rose and a calla lily, just so you can see the finished product. So now you have insight into how this works. Remember, there are many, many different ways that you can de-stress and reduce anxiety by using your hands. So try something new to figure out what gets your endorphins flowing. Look for a local art therapy or recreation therapy program, join a pottery class, or even a woodworking class. Just be sure to pamper your hands, because if you take good care of them, they'll take good care of you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click the thumbs up on your screen to like it. Be sure to subscribe so you'll get notifications when new videos are posted. Send me your comments, your questions, your ideas for future videos. I'd love to hear from you. My job is to help you to live life with vision loss by giving you the tips, tools, and techniques you need for success. So no worries, you got this. See you next time.